everybody. I'm back again, and we're taking a look at the DNA nucleus by Spinetic this time. Now, I've had this for about a day now, and I just decided to put it back in its box so we can go through everything together. Anyway, this box itself is pretty nice. It's got a magnetic clasp on it, so it stays shut. And everything inside is very well presented. Got your ring spinner bearings here, come in 2 sizes, as well as the retention systems. And you got the spinner right here. Now this spinner is super nice to fidget with. And we also have some weights here, and let's see if I can get this out. An Allen key, and some tiny bolts or screws, whatever you want to call these. Now these are super small. I'm afraid I will probably lose them at some point, actually. But in this configuration, without the weights, it's still a pretty hefty spinner. It's very chunky. But very, very fidgetable as well. Thankfully, I have a little bit of sunlight in here, so that's giving it a pretty nice effect, don't you think? Anyway, as you might know, this is actually also a ring spinner, so it does come with some larger bearings. I prefer this one. This other one is a bit too big for me, and it sits down too far on my finger, as we can see here. Let's see. Yep. This one fits way too far down my finger, but this one I think sits just right. Anyway, as a regular tri-spinner, this guy is very, very comfortable. And it has some very nice places where your hand or fingers catch very naturally. These curves are very comfortable, and there isn't a single hot spot on this spinner at all. Let's take a look at the bearing retention system for the tri configuration. Right. As you can see, there is an R188 bearing in there, and it's held in by a pretty big set of weights here. Or not weights, but set of bearing rotation caps. Well, what I'm going to do now, just to get it over with, is turn this guy into a ring spinner. So bear with me while I get this situated here. Or, actually, give me just a sec. And we're back! So, now that I've got it in ring spinner form, it's even more fidgetable than it was before. Let's move these out of the way. Again, these curves just catch your fingers very nicely. And there's still more to this guy. You see these holes here? They're actually slots for these weights, which come in the box. They don't feel very heavy on their own, but once you have them in the spinner, they feel very substantial. Because as it is, this guy is pretty light, despite being stainless steel. Anyway, let me take another jump cut, and I'll get those installed. Actually, before we go on, let's take a look at these weights. I've got 2 of them installed already, and we'll talk about them a little more once they're all in there. Anyway, just doesn't seem like much, but they do very much add up once they're installed. They're very, very well sculpted and feel very nice to the touch as well. They even have a little bit of a indentation where the screw is supposed to go. Anyway, moving on. Okay, now that I've got this thing put together, let's get this show on the road. As you can see, it gives the spinner a very nice look. While the same material, they have different surfaces, and it just looks very nice. I'm actually thinking of anodizing or flaming these so they stand out even more. And this is my preferred configuration for the spinner. Sometimes I'll catch my hand or my fingers with the edges of this. It's not a hot spot by any means, but it still hurts. Just the weight of it all just kind of hitting your finger. Anyway, this spinner is more fun than I was expecting it to be. It covers all the bases. If you want a tri-spinner, you got that. If you want something light, you got that. And if you want a ring spinner, you got that too. I highly recommend this spinner, especially for the price. Now, I can't remember just how much this was. Maybe around 55 bucks. Can't say for sure. But definitely the most bang out of my buck for sure. Oh, and one more thing I really want to mention is that these curves once again serve a very cool purpose, because see how it just sits nicely between my thumb and my middle finger? That's a very nice touch, and it just sits there very nicely and comfortably. And just running your finger down the edges feels very nice too. Anyway, again, if you're new to the whole spinner game, highly recommended. You should go get yourself one. I believe the pre-orders are out, but maybe they'll release another batch. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you later. Peace.